Hello and welcome to Workshop Studios. We're going to do this project today right here. That's 16, count them 16 of those paver stones. How much does that weigh?
They're 80, 90 each, so there's about...
We'll just round it to 1,600 pounds
Yeah.
right there of pavers. And we're going to be installing them in the front yard, so stay tuned and we'll show you what we're going to do. All right, so we're fully loaded up. We got the trailer with its not maximum load, but there's about 900 pounds in the trailer, and the rest of it's in the back of the car. Ready to go home?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, so the pavers have now made it home. There they are in the trailer like we had at Home Depot, and they're hooked to the lawn tractor, and then we'll be ready to haul those around where they need to be, but we've already put some out, so let's go look at that. So here we are. We've got two sets of pavers set down the hill already, ready to go across here. And this is our project, is that we're putting pavers down this slope here so that we can put steps, and it'll be a lot better. It's just not growing grass there well, and you can see the shade from this tree is partly the reason, but it's also got a lot of roots in here. So what we need to do is level this off so that we can put a series of steps down there. And I've already done the calculations, which you can go online and do. They have things called stair calculators if you ever want to do that. And you just need to measure what you're doing, how long it's going to be, how much drop there is from here down to the bottom. So you got to measure that, and how many steps you want and things like that. You put it in the stair calculator, and it tells you approximately the height you need each step to go down to get from here to here in a nice even fashion. In our case, we want something like 3 3/4 inches from the top of one step down to the bottom of the other. So it'll be not very high because the step itself is 2 inches. So we're not going to go down very deep for each step. It'll be kind of a very shallow step down, but that's good. It's a lot safer to go down. So let's get started. What we're going to do is level the first one. And first we're going to do is bury this pipe, because this has been eroding over a while. So we have some landscaping / erosion type pipe here that we get from Home Depot, and it's going to hook onto this plastic pipe which runs underneath the concrete. And there's under this stuff here, there's a drain area, so it goes down into this white pipe that comes across, and there is a downspout here that comes down, and you can see these wood chips wash out of here when we have heavy rain, but most of it goes down here and runs down the hill and kind of erodes that. So we're going to put this pipe in, and then we'll bury it so that it's level with where the steps come out. All right, so my wonderful assistant here is trenching, and we're trying to get the level of the trench for this pipe, the black pipe, down low enough so that the pavers and dirt can go over at level. So we don't have to get it too deep, but of course we're starting to hit roots already, and we're going to hit those down through here for some of these. All right, so here's the first 2 steps in, and we've got them level and stable, so they look good. The only problem is that at this point, they're not pointed the right way. They're kind of pointing this way, which goes over there, when we really want to point them down there, which means these probably have to rotate around. And I've laid the level here to show you the edge probably needs to move over that way and point down the hill more like that. So that's fine, other than the fact that it'll leave a gap up here. You can see if these move out, then it'll leave a gap along here, but that's all right. I can fill that in with something that looks nice, but it gets the steps going the right direction the first time. But I think everything else, let's walk around here, everything else looks good. It's the right height there, and it's good and level and stable, so it's given a good start to our stepping stones moving out. Yes, there's my assistant squashing them down. Good job, assistant. Nice legs too. All right, so there are 2 steps in now so far, And we'll show you the process on the third step. But the idea is pretty simple, is that you come down and you want to level out a spot that's wide enough for the step, that's 2 feet, and then level it across this way. And then we check the stone to make sure there's no wobble, and that means we need to get the dirt organized out of them. And I'll show you that on the process if we do these this next set. But you can see what it's generally going to look like. Let me take you up at the top and show you. Now, I wasn't real happy about having to have this gap here, but the reason we're doing that, as I showed you just a minute ago, is because we're trying to point the steps down this area that's been defined for us. And you can see that it's kind of pointed more that way right now, but we're going to slowly turn the steps just a little bit at a time so they come down the hill, and it might give it a little more interest. The steps are not straight up and down. So at this point, we're going to leave it like that. And the way that we look at this is these steps are now in what I'd call the semi-final stage of settling in. What we'll do is lift these up and put landscaping cloth underneath them just to help keep erosion to a minimum and to keep any weeds that want to pop up underneath, although they can't grow through the concrete. And so that'll be the last step. And during that step, we'll also orient these steps so that they are all pointing this. You can see the striations in them here. We'll have all of the striations pointing downhill, for those of you that might have noticed that. So we'll show you what it looks like on this next one. Try to make it too boring, but we'll show you how that process is. So the process involves getting the stones, or getting the ground level, but down low enough so the next step is where it's supposed to be. And I'll show you across here. You can see how that gap between the top of the higher step and the bottom of the lower step is nice and even. And it's also the measurement that I made to give the appropriate rise on each step as it comes up, so that at the bottom it looks good, and the rise is the same on each step. It makes them look more uniform that way. So we're going to be shooting for this same, that's the rise right here, that's the rise. We're going to be shooting for that on each step as it goes down. So next step is we dig this out, push the excess dirt away, try and get it level, and we'll be using several tools, which we'll show you, and it's something that you can work on too. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is taking this dirt down, like these steps go down a little, taking that down. There's my strong assistant already digging. He's not going to put the dirt too far away down that hill, are you, assistant?
No.
Because we'll probably have to take some of that and put it back up as we start to level. But what we're going to try to do is get that down, kind of using the shovel as our big tool right away, and get most of the dirt out of the way. And he is gauging how much dirt to take out by this area. This is going to have to go down about 6 inches to get us to that gap that we have on these. So he's going to go down approximately 6, but maybe 6.5 to 7 inches eventually, where we soften the soil up, or loosen the soil up with our scrabble hoe. So first is shovel, and then we'll start scrabble hoeing. I think we'll go ahead and time lapse this one so that you can follow what we're doing, but you don't have to be bored to death while we're doing it. All right, my faithful assistant here will point as I tell you what we're doing. So first of all, we used the shovel as our major tool to grade, and we took off a chunk of dirt down 6 inches. What we're looking for is at least 6 inches from there down to the grade. And so you use the shovel to take big chunks of dirt back. Then you use this thing called a scrabble hoe or a hula hoe, and you pull it across the dirt, and it, as you saw in the time lapse, there's my faithful assistant doing that. So you can now scrape dirt away, and it'll take it off fairly level, as opposed to what the shovel does, which just takes out big divots. So once we get the scrabble hoe down deep enough, what we're looking for, in this case, we want about 5 3/4 inches from the top of that stone down to the top of the next stone. But to do that, the stones are 2 inches deep, or 2 inches thick, so we want about 4 inches between there and there. And so we're using 6 inches as our gauge. So we want 6 inches down to the dirt here. There we go. So he checked it all the way across there. But we want to go about another inch deep so that it's 6 inches down, but it's soft dirt that we're going into. Because if it's hard, the stone's going to hit that and it's going to wobble. So what we were doing is pulling it down so that it would be 6 inches level out this way and this way, with about an inch of nice loose dirt on top. And now we are about ready to lay stones and see how they do. Right? Faithful assistant? All right, so let's lay some stones, and we'll do this one in time lapse as well, because you got to lay them, then you pick them up and you lay them down, and you keep kind of gauging, and right, up, down, right? Because we got to put a little dirt here and a corner is low over there. So we'll be up and down. So we'll go back to time lapse. And by the way, that process for that one step took maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And it's very hot and humid out right now. So this is not work that you want to do in the super hot part of the day if you can help it. Unless you're built for that kind of thing, but not.
And try to do it under shade.
Yeah, and we're in the shade for now. But pretty soon the sun's going to come around here. It's going to come around past that tree, and that sun's going to bake us. So we're trying to get as many stones in while we can before we get baked to death.
Is that 11:37?
All right, now you can see the stones are in place, and that you can see kind of by looking at it, that's pretty even across there. And we've got that distance about the same as that one and that one. And we've got this level going across and that way. But you could see in the time lapse that we were doing a lot of lifting stones. This one went down pretty well. It went down and was not too bad. It has a little wobble on this corner, but we'll fix that. This stone needed a little more help. It was a little high on that side, but we got it all sorted out, and now we have 2 more stones down, and we'll do the same thing here and here and here. So I may run time lapse on it, but it's pretty much the same thing over and over again, and I'm not sure you need to see that. So we'll decide on that one. But that's the process of laying stones. All right, so just to follow up what we were talking about, here's the idea, to try and keep it pointing more down that way, but not make it look too strange. Is what we've done is this one's angled out. You can see this gap here. And then we've chosen to do a little bit of gap on each one. So you can see that there's a gap there on that one. And there's a gap on this one here. And that as we do that, we're turning the steps just a little bit to get them so that they continue down this hill. But we've also slid them over that way just a little. So you can see the edges don't quite line up here. They go a little farther over. And I think this will be a nice look. It'll have a little more interesting look than just straight, steps all the way down. We'll see. Let's put them all in. All right, so this area is now ready for a set of stones, and we've gone ahead and leveled it out a little farther this way so that we can bring the stones over for that twisting kind of action. So we've got a good level all the way across, so let's bring some stones in for it. All right, there's step 4, and next is going to be step 5. And hey, presto, there's step number 5. Let's do 6, 7, and 8 the same way, and snap. So these two I decided to go level. I was a little unclear as to what I was going to do on the way out here when I get out to this area, but I think 2 level ones here and then 1 more step here. And then what I'll try and do is bring this pathway in level with this area here. We'll see how that works out. And yes, I have dug this pipe down, and it's down pretty much at level, so I've tried to put excess dirt up there so I can bring it down, cover this up, and kind of make that area flat so that it's easier for planting. and bam, there we go. So that's all the steps in. Let's count them. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, they are all there and pretty good. This one is a smidge lower than the rest of them, but I think it'll work out just fine. And I got, like I said, I have some work to do over here, and I'll get that smoothed out, but that's them. Let's look at it from the top. Well, here's a side view of them coming down. Looking good. And here's the top view. Come over here. See what they look like. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, continue the saga. All right, so now it's time to bring this flagstone pathway over and tie it in here so that it makes sense. And I think I'm working on bringing it up to here, and so it'll span these two steps. It'll be just slightly lower than this one, a little bit higher than that one, but it'll come off of there and gently curve off that way, which wouldn't be too big a deal, except that it's loaded with roots from this red maple tree, which is great. I mean, it's a beautiful tree, and that's what exactly we want, but I got to dig them all up, so I have a few roots over there already, getting all my tools out here so that I can go through them much easier. Anyhow, I think it'll turn out nice. I'll show you. I won't show you all the details because it's pretty boring, but I'll show you as I make progress. Okay, well, you watched it sort of transform more quickly in steps when I was doing a lot of these little projects, I guess you'd call them. They do still take a lot of time, but they're little ones. So I put a bunch of this brown mulch down so that it kind of covers up all that bare dirt. And I think the stones are pretty level here now, along in here. It's got a good edge. And I've brought the stones down this way, because there's a pathway that comes across this way as well. So connected those two. So there's one last thing to do here, and that is, as I think I said before, I want to put decking board that I've cut into 4-foot lengths along here, and it'll cover up that raw dirt there and not let things grow in there, keep the dirt from eroding away. So I'll do a kind of a step-by-step on that one too. It shouldn't take too long.